Yes, indeed, that's the title for this Monday evening, How to Age with Elegance. And some of you are saying, well, I don't even like that term. Age, aging. I know that. And then some of you are saying, and what does that have to do with being a master entrepreneur? Are you sure you know what you're talking about? Well, I'm not always sure, but I think so. And first of all, the whole thing is a great story. And I think you'll find it something that might stir your mind, move your spirit, and touch your heart. And then if you'll give me just a few minutes, I think we can connect it and make it relevant not only to you as an entrepreneur, but even if you're 30 years old, it can be relevant to you right now. How to Age with Elegance for the Master Entrepreneur. The program begins right now. Well, first of all, I will begin with a full-throated attribution and confession. I read a magazine that is an internet publication, which I suggest to many of you. It's called Medium. Just check it out, medium.com. And it has all kinds of good stuff for entrepreneurs and for people who are seeking to do a little work in personal development and create a better life and career. And it's connected to an organization called Mission, which has a little more of a spiritual tone to it. Not necessarily Christian, but they don't discriminate against those kinds of people like you and me. But Mission is a good publication. And Flipbook, which is a summary of some of the news and stories and pictures of the day. Those things come to me, and they help me become not only a well-informed business performance coach so I can help you, but as a broadcaster, I find much of their material very, very helpful and useful. And from time to time, I borrow it. Now, there's a well-known American broadcaster, talk show host who always refers to his stack of stuff. And a lot of his 3-hour program is him commenting on things that other people have written or said or published, and he puts his own spin and his own commentary to it. Well, I have in my stack of stuff an article which hit Sunday morning. And I saw the title, and it got me right away. Good headline, obviously, because I'm a little bit aged, and I have to confess that. Now, my good friend Bruce Schumann, who is with us in the Christian Entrepreneur Network, possibly having some affiliation with a movement which right now is just simply called Encore. An attempt to help you find God's next project in your life. We are also, of course, connected to What It Takes Radio, and that's what brings you this program, and we're going to help you get on the air. Significant work is to be done to help you learn how to use the modern media, and then you're going to find out about the cowboy entrepreneur. Oh, we've got all kinds of good things that we hope God's good grace will give us God's special wisdom, and that we can bring to the marketplace and bring to you so you can truly be a master entrepreneur. This is how to age with elegance. Do not go gentle into that good night. And here's the full attribution found in Media that was published on, here we go, September 14th, and then it kind of went into September 15th, and I'm reading it to you on the 16th, by a gentleman named John P. Weiss. John P. Weiss. And I want to make sure you know that, and perhaps you will even find out more about him. He describes himself. He says, I'm John P. Weiss. I paint, draw cartoons, and write about life. Get on my free email list here to follow along. Well, I was so impressed by the story, and I love the pictures, that I just thought, if I can in my own way, take a few minutes to tell the story that John has shared, and as I said, with full attribution, This is one of those things where they say if you're a good broadcaster, you borrow things quite often. And here we go. Imagine being born in 1911 to a peasant Sikh family in Punjab, India. Your legs are so frail that you're unable to walk until the age of 5. The village kids call you Danda, which means stick. In time you grow stronger. You become an avid amateur runner. Unable to attend school or read, you begin working alongside your father on the farm. Eventually you marry, you start a family and a farm of your own. You teach your children how to farm and love your family dearly, but then tragedy strikes. Your wife dies in 1992, and your eldest daughter passes away due to complications from childbirth. In 1994, your 5th son, Culp, dies in a construction accident. The depth of loss sends you into a deep depression and emotional turmoil. You move to England to live with your son and spend your days at home watching television. Running, however, breathes new life into you. One day you see the London Marathon. It rekindles an old passion for running when you were younger, so at the young age of 89, you return to running. You show up for training at Redbridge, Essex, wearing a 3-piece suit. Fortunately, the coach works with you, gets you into appropriate attire, and soon you're in the 2000 London Marathon. Running indeed breathes new life into you, and at the age of 93, you complete a marathon in 6 hours and 54 minutes. You beat the world best for anyone in the 90-plus age bracket. In 2004, you're featured in an Adidas advertising campaign with celebrities like Muhammad Ali and David Beckham. You end up breaking records and complete marathons at the age of 100 and 101. Despite experiencing racism, you cast a charitable eye towards your fellow man. You become an advocate for health and wellness, encouraging people to eat healthily and treat others in all things with respect. In 2012, you even carry the Olympic torch, and you refuse to accumulate personal wealth from sponsorships, and you donate the money to charity. The first 20 miles are not difficult. Well, now that you've imagined such a remarkable life, meet the man behind the biography. His name is Fauja Singh, and he's 108 years old. Fauja Singh, 108 years old. And according to Wikipedia.org, Singh attributes his physical longevity to abstaining from smoking and alcohol and following a simple vegetarian diet. This is what Singh has said about his marathon. The first 20 miles are not difficult. As for the last 6 miles, I run while talking to God. Fauja Singh, despite a difficult childhood and great personal loss, exemplifies dignity, grace, persistence, and charity. He is a model for how to age with elegance. And I confess, I love that term, age with elegance, and in the process inspires others to be the best they can be. We can learn a lot from Singh about the power of not giving up, about the importance of finding something you enjoy throwing yourself into, not to mention the merits of exercise, and of course a healthy diet. Equally important is Singh's charitable giving. Since his basic needs are met, he donates his sponsorship monies to charity. This not only helps others, but no doubt fills his own heart with a sense of purpose and joy. Then Mr. Weiss goes on to say, but aging is not for the faint of heart. I remember when my father used to stand up from his reading chair. He'd place his beefy hands on his knees, lean forward and grunt. Then he'd turn to me and say, "Don't get old, Johnny." What's the alternative, I used to think? Dying young? Well, watching my parents age, with all of their physical indignities and ailments, is indeed instructive. I studied the way my father, despite a bad heart and aching body, found solace in his books and his outdoor yard work. Now my mother, despite being marooned in her lift chair due to advanced Parkinson's disease, still finds joy in her books, in news programs, conversations, and favorite desserts. My mother also takes time to listen to her young caretakers. They share their love lives and their family troubles, and Mom renders wise advice and kind encouragements, interspersed with a few jokes and a wonderful sense of humor. Mom refuses to give up and dress sloppily. She takes pleasure in coordinating her outfits and jewelry, not because she's trying to impress anyone, but because she has self-respect. She says, "It feels good to look presentable." And now, Mr. Wise, with the interior of the soul. You know, there's plenty of advice on how to age well. Stuff like eating right, exercise, plenty of sleep, managing stress, drinking lots of water. All important things to focus on. Of course, some folks struggle with their aging appearance, and they enlist the help of dyes and Botox, hair transplants, beauty treatments, and plastic surgery. In some cases, it really does help. In others, it just kind of makes things worse. Society today focuses incessantly on youth and exterior beauty at the expense of intellectual growth and interior beauty. And now John quotes Victor Hugo. "There's one spectacle grander than the sea, that is the sky. There is one spectacle grander than the sky, and that is the interior of the human soul." Developing our minds and character. Yes, thus many become ill-equipped for the indignities of aging. They rush to gyms or cosmetic surgeons to somehow put the genie of youth back into the bottle, but the genie is gone. Pleasure is a shadow. There's nothing wrong with focusing on good health, and we all have a little vanity, for sure. We want to look our best at any age. But what about your interior life? What about your mind? How are you equipping yourself for the road ahead? The thing that helped my father and still assists my mother with the rigors of aging is that they never stopped developing their minds. Books were my father's best friends, and their lessons and stories provided perspective and answers for him about this grand journey of life. My mother still reads regularly. Jousting with new ideas keeps her mind engaged, nimble, and growing. Not to mention, a curious and well-read mind makes for an interesting person. And now Mr. Wise continues his story with a large, bold quote by the inventor DeWitt Clinton, who said this: "Pleasure is a shadow, wealth is vanity, and power a pageant. But knowledge is ecstatic in enjoyment, perennial in frame, unlimited space, and indefinite in duration." Well, the knowledge of yourself is the subject now. Loving our families and friends, personal development, travel, new experiences, never-ending education of our minds, helping others, and the pursuit of our creative passions all create memories and an emotional armor that we call upon in an old age. Long after our looks fade, these things become our closest allies as we march slowly toward the void. To allow vanity and narcissism to feed your ego is to deny yourself a deeper, more fulfilling, and more meaningful existence. Cervantes said, "The knowledge of yourself will preserve you from vanity." There's a good friend that I've never met, but I read him a lot, Richard Rohr, who says, "I now know that I should seek a daily humiliation just to keep me where I should be." Hey, it's not so easy. The bloom of youth, when our bodies are beautiful and strong, is a hard thing to relinquish. I can only imagine how devastating it is for glamorous movie stars whose careers and personas rely heavily on their appearance. Then over the years they witness on screen their slow and rather public disintegration. The poet Dylan Thomas seemed to recommend that we fight back against Father Time when he wrote, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." Well, my sense is that we should do all we can to avoid the dying of the light. We should eat right, exercise, and get plenty of sleep. Now, that's vital. Not so much for vanity's sake, but to sustain us for the road ahead. Now, where do we go from there? Well, I would simply ask us to think about what it means to age with elegance. And perhaps you're saying, I got to think about that. Now you say, Stan, okay, give us the entrepreneur. Well, as my friend Bruce said, a lot of us don't like to be called senior citizens, and we don't like to be called aged, but elegance is a word, class, character, all that goes into what John Weiss described is something that is good for you, and it's good for me. And I would simply say this, maybe you're a 30-year-old entrepreneur. When should you begin to age with elegance? To kind of live the way that these people live so that they can age with elegance. When should they begin? May I suggest, as an entrepreneur, they should begin right now. Right now. Right now, wherever you are. Whether you are 28 or 82, how will you finish well? How will you do well? How well will you be remembered? And if you do that kind of work as an entrepreneur, you will find that truly it will go well for you. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Master Entrepreneur. We'll be right back. Hey, we hope you'll check us out, and we could use your support right now, your sponsorship. This program comes to you 3 or 4 times a week, and we have all kinds of activities and things to help you, services we can provide for you. Already 2 or 3 people just wrote me today and said, Stan, I could use your help, and without any fee, we're going to do what we can to help them. Now, of course, we can't do everything free-less, but we would like to do what we can. But we do relish your sponsorship and support. We are a 501c3, so you get the appropriate deductions if that's reasonable and well for you. We'd appreciate you making a contribution to a sponsorship on behalf of the work we do. If you have any questions, reach out to radioedge77@gmail.com, radioedge77@gmail.com. We've got lots of good stuff to talk about this week, but I thought this would be a good way to begin Monday as we meet the marketplace, that we start right now to do just exactly what wonderful stories and counsel from John Weiss. This is how we start to age with elegance, and we start right now. And we'll see you around, but bye for now.